Welcome, everybody, to episode 58 of PT Shop Talk. On today's episode, we talk a healthy lifestyle, seed oil, sunlight exposure, weight loss meds, and we finish up with our top 5 movies based off of video games. With me, as always, is Nick, feeling it in his jellies doling, and Jeremy, I'm gonna wreck it, Van Klompenberg. Welcome, gentlemen.
Welcome. Good evening. It's good
Welcome.
to be back.
Yeah, I got so excited when I heard you say welcome. You know, the dialogue pops up and I hit leave meeting instead of got it. I was so excited for it.
I was like, where
been too long.
Yeah, it's one of our longer hiati. Sorry for listeners that look for the weekly hit. We had just got real busy with the Easter season and bad weather and all the things that come with it. But we are back. We did not retire. We still haven't made any money on this, so we have to keep going. Can't retire yet. So there we go.
Blue Chew. We're waiting.
We're waiting.
Every time we take a break, we need to queue up. Like, I know we got some copyright infringement you said on the last one, but
shout out to Silk Stockings for letting us continue to have our pod after last episode. YouTube flagged that little clipper. Yeah. So
we need to hit some Boys Are Back in Town though. Every time we take a little hiatus, with Thin Lizzy.
Yeah, I assume they'll allow that copyright.
They'd be cool, right? Are they still alive? They're probably still. I don't know.
Yeah. Probably not Thin anymore, but yeah.
But
yeah. It's been good though in our absence on the pod. Nick and I actually got together in person. That was
sure did.
Exciting. Right before before Easter, right? Yeah.
Yes, Maundy Thursday evening last week, April 6th. Red Hot Chili Peppers concert.
What?
Fargo, North Dakota.
Yeah, the old Fargo Dome. There was a lot of folks going, it seemed like. Was it pretty packed?
Yes, it was. I think it was, I can't say it was a sellout. There were some open seats. We were on the floor, and if you turn around and looked at the total opposite end, there were some kind of nosebleeders that were open, but between the floor and then, I guess you'd say 80% of the stadium seating was a full.
Was that a half dome?
Mm-hmm.
The stage at the 50?
No, it wasn't half. Good question.
3/8?
No, it was the other way.
How many millimeters?
At least a 3/4 dome.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty good then. Usually a lot of those they just
best song that they played.
Best song. Oh,
like what brought it down?
Suck My Kiss was good.
As a banger.
Blood Sugar Sex Magic was great, which I was not expecting them to play either.
Because I had a few people that went and they said they played probably more of their newer stuff than they would have maybe thought they were going to. But
really?
Yeah, and I don't know if this person was like a huge Chili's fan. So when they say newer stuff, they maybe just meant anything after Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
From what I could pick up on, they played their newest song, the Tip of My Tongue. That was pretty good. That went over well. And then they played Black Summer from last year, and that was good too. But aside from that, I thought it was mainly golden oldies.
Any omissions that you were bummed about?
Ooh, I like that question.
Good question. I can't say there was. I can't say there was anything that. I like Higher Ground. Their cover, the cover
that's
of Higher
good too.
Ground.
That's good.
They didn't play that, but I don't. Sometimes you got to come in with tempered expectations, though, right?
Yeah,
they can't play them all.
I
haven't pulled up the set list though.
Yeah. How was the Strokes? I heard some mixed reviews on them.
Every song sounds the same. I mean, it's like, Last Night was their big hit.
Yep. And it's the only song I know of them.
It feels like every song is just like a derivative of that song.
Well, and that was that whole movement, right? That garage sound rock that went on, like the Hives and the Strokes, and they all, like I said, all sounded very like through a megaphone.
Yeah, and like they're trying, and musically, like they were covering like kind of a shitty version of Rolling Stones and the Kinks and stuff like that, like better bands from decades before. But
Yeah, I don't really care for him. But a lot of people said he seemed lackadaisical, uninterested, maybe drugged up. I don't know.
Well, we spent most of that.
It's a normal Thursday.
We were stuck in the concourse for most of that set. I mean, not a shout out to the Dome, but their concessions line and bathroom line, that is rough. That's brutal. Nothing moves very quickly at all.
Yeah, and they don't do a good job of like partitioning, right? Like they should have a queue at each of those that you walk through versus just stand around. Hopefully you're in a line, and
that's true. Because the first couple times we found out we weren't even in a line. Or the line like snake, they're like, "Oh, you're trying to cut ahead," and we're like, "We're not. We have no idea where we were supposed to be."
I'm Nick Doling. Like, let me in.
The line ends over there. I'm like, all right.
You don't know me from my podcast? Let me in.
World famous podcast. PT Shop Talk.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. No.
I would have figured they would have ushered you in. No. Please. Go ahead of me.
Stop it. Clomper, stop it. Now you're just teasing.
No, when you say floor, was it seats on the floor? You guys have to stand for this thing.
Seats were there, but we stood the whole time.
That concrete, huh?
It was fine. I don't know. Great,
man.
Good experience. Neighbors to my right. Very nice couple from Winnipeg, Manitoba. They were young, newlyweds,
drinking maple syrup.
Oh, they were fun.
And wrestling grizzly bears.
Yeah, they were good people. Huh?
Yeah,
they were real good. Yeah, it was good. They opened with Can't Stop, which was a fantastic opener. You know, they do kind of a protracted introduction. And the big take home, I feel I would be very remiss if I didn't say I already went in with really high levels of respect for John Frusciante, but after the concert, I might have to reevaluate like top 5 lead guitarists and make sure that he's firmly in there.
Really,
he is absolutely fantastic, and I think he gets.
Is there recency bias in there?
Yes, there would be. I can't deny that.
All right.
However, I mean, just trying to be as objective as possible, and how much the cameras would follow him around, and you forget how much like the lead guitar does drive a lot of those jams, because it's so easy to Kiedis and Flea really just kind of been the focal point of that band for 3 decades. And Flea's awesome. I mean, Flea's just slapping around, and it's great. But I left with just a even higher level of respect for Frusciante's guitar playing.
Cool.
And all their albums that he's been, and those are the best albums they've ever had where he's been on there. I mean, they're just super solid.
Did they play Soul to Squeeze, which is like one of my favorite Chili songs? They did, huh?
Yes.
I feel like that's one that gets forgotten. Wasn't that like a movie soundtrack song?
Yeah, the Coneheads, my bro.
Okay, yeah. There you go.
Coneheads. I'm just going to go to setlist.com. I'm going to do a little producing here. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, so as you're doing that, Jeremy, I have a question for you. And aside, because we can't make this all about Nick and myself, did you watch the movie Hope?
No, I didn't all the way. I only got through about 20 minutes of it.
So it's not even scary yet for you. I was excited
not yet,
because I know you're not a scary movie guy. I was excited to see.
I know. I'm gonna watch it. I will.
There's this new string of like comedians doing horror, and it's cool. I think you'll enjoy it. It's like a higher level horror.
Is there any comedy in it?
No.
I mean, I'd like the ability to have a couple laughs in there. No, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna do it.
You should. I'm curious to see what you think. I enjoyed it. So
I just gotta talk. You know what I got tricked by was they also had Maverick on there. So
you pivoted. Yeah. Huh?
So you watched Maverick?
I did, and which was an excellent film too.
Like absolutely fantastic.
Just excellent. So. What do you got on the
scenes.
set list? What do you got on the set list?
All right, you guys ready? Don't want to
Yeah.
bore the listeners, so I'm
No.
just gonna fire.
No, they
through
want to
this.
know.
Fire
They
through
want
it.
to know.
Yeah.
Starts off with intro jam, number 1, which is really just a segue to Can't Stop. That's the first official song. Then they went to the Zephyr song. Then it was Snow. Ayo.
Fly away on my Zephyr.
Yep, not bad. A little
Ah,
softer vibe, right?
They kind of
Then it-
softened her up there with that.
I love
Zephyr
that
Snow
song.
combo, huh?
Yes.
Then it was Here Ever After. Then number 6 was Suck My Kiss. Number 7 was a cover
Pump it
of
back up.
Danny's song by Loggins and Messina. Number 8 was a song new to me, Fake as Fuck.
What?
Number 9, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, which is absolutely fantastic. 10 was Hard to Concentrate. 11 was Eddie. 12 was Soul to Squeeze, Casey. There it was.
Damn.
13, Nobody Weird Like Me. 14, Tip of My Tongue, another big banger. 15, Californication, kind of like you have to do
had
it.
to
right?
play it. You gotta. Yeah.
The hit.
16 was Black Summer, which was very good live. I always thought that was a little, it was hit last year. Thought it was kind
Was
of
that on their last album?
They put out 2 in 2022. It was on the first one.
Okay.
It really banged live, really good.
That was the one with the neon on the front of it.
Yep.
What was that called?
The
Unlimited
album
Love.
itself. Yes.
Unlimited Love.
There you go.
Yeah.
Number 17th song was By the Way, and then they did the fake, bye bye.
Yep.
And then they came back. They played their encore, had 2 songs. I Could Have Lied was the first one, also just awesome. And then Give It Away was their final. Give it away. Yeah, which was great. It was a great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they don't do Under the Bridge, huh?
No. So Gabby, who you met last week, Ryan,
Mhm.
Ryan, he's been a guest on the pod.
Yep.
Ryan Zink, shout out to my homeboy from Carrington.
What?
His girlfriend Gabby, she was so upset afterwards. We're walking back to this Airbnb, and she's like, I only wanted them to play. When you ask about a big omission, to me, I'm fine without hearing Under the Bridge. I've heard it a trillion
You gotta have a
times.
whole choir there if you're gonna do that.
Well,
You
I
can't
imagine
just-
they probably closed their show with that sucker many, many times. Probably one of those
Yep.
songs that they just hate to play. I'm guessing.
Yeah. Which for
boring.
that point case, that if you guys are keeping up, do you keep up with Metallica at all and what they're doing right now as far as their tour goes?
Are they doing like albums? Is that what they're doing?
No, they have a new album. I think
Maybe
it
somebody
drops
else I was
tomorrow.
thinking
But they're only playing a handful of locations over the next 2 years. But at each location, so they'll be playing US Bank Stadium in August of 2024, for example.
Did you go when they opened that?
No,
Nick?
no.
You didn't.
I saw them in Sioux Falls in 2018.
Yeah.
But what they're going to do is they're going to play US Bank 2 out of 3 nights. They're going to play a Friday night and a Sunday night, and they have different openers each night. So one night is going to be Five Finger Death Punch, the other one's going to be Pantera. So that's different. And then each set list for that city is going to be completely different with 0 overlap, they say. So that's going to be really interesting, right? Because no matter what, you're going to be excited because you're going to hear something completely fresh.
Yeah.
And you're also going to be disappointed because you're going to miss, you're going to miss something a staple that you were dying to hear them play live.
So I assume many people will go both nights.
Correct. My brother's got tickets for both. We got tickets for one. We'll be going to the one with
For the
Pantera.
low price of $6,000.
It's not quite that steep, but they're not giving them away either.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, you get that many songs. It's probably better to give people the opportunity to hear all the songs they want, and nobody probably wants to do like the Garth Brooks 3 hours back to back concerts like all day long.
You don't?
Well, I mean, fans do, but like if you're Garth Brooks, that's got to be brutal. So as like a musician,
he did okay with it. I think he made out okay.
Yeah.
He's Baton Rouge.
No, a band like that,
Oh,
I'd be fine.
I've got to I got to play extra music, but I can plate everything I have in gold now. So
Yeah, but when Garth does like
yeah,
to that end, when Garth would play a back, we'll just say it's a double header. When he'd play like a double header back to back, that's not a completely unique set list though. Like the 6 o'clock versus like the 8:30 show, you know?
no,
Yeah, he's a performer. But no, I would be fine with it. So like I've seen Korn's one of my favorite bands. I've seen them live like 5 times.
Yes, the show listeners will recall that.
Yeah. I would be fine if they came to Fargo and did 2 different set lists, 2 different nights. Because for me, that means you're probably also going to get a lot of songs they rarely ever play
you
live.
you wouldn't normally hear. Yep,
which I think's cool.
That's the positive, right? That's huge.
Because the shows
You're
I've
always
been
so
to,
glass half full.
Yeah,
I
the
love
shows
it.
I go to when they've played in Fargo and when I've seen them in the cities, those are the best songs for me. Is the ones that aren't hits that they play live. I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's unique. Yeah. Like when they played Fargo '99, it was like one of the only times they played this one song live. It was cool. I was there for it. Like it was kind of a neat thing. So they didn't play it every night that tour. They just had the feeling that night, played it.
I'm talking with my brother this weekend. The challenging part for him is that he's got to stay in the metro like 3 nights though.
Yeah,
in order to, because they have that night in between.
And we're back to $6,000.
Yeah,
so it's an investment.
It would be a little nicer if it was just back to back. I don't necessarily understand the night in between. That's a little harder on people. You think you'd want to do Friday, Saturday.
You got to recharge for that.
I mean, Garth's doing back-to-backs, Jeremy, like 3 nights in a row.
Yeah, but he takes like a decade off in between. So he's true. Just like he's
burns it out
up for it.
Operator, which put me on through.
No, I swear this is my last tour. It's like him, Cher, and freaking Elton John.
And this the Stones.
Like, this is my last one, I swear.
So I just do a mega tour together, all 4 of them.
Motley Crue's done that a bunch of times.
Right.
It's such a cliche with rock stars, you know, the final tour.
I mean, that has to be very addicting though. It's got to be hard to give that up.
Yeah.
I mean, singing in front of even 10,000 screaming fans has got to be.
But when that's done, you can go to the casino tour like Nelly, and then you can.
Well, see, if Nelly, but I think what to one of your guys' point, whoever said, you know, Garth takes that break, like if you're a true legend, like I don't think Nelly's quite at legend status, you know.
Or
but let's say you had, well, he had 2 good albums. That's not quite a catalog. But if you have 4 or 5 like just all-time albums and you can shuffle the deck quite a bit,
correct.
You know, there's gonna be a base that, and it also shows longevity, right? So you're gonna be able to rotate through, take a couple years off. And to their credit, maybe they do get a little burnt out, and then they take a couple years and they're like, you know what? I recharged the batteries. I'm ready to go back out. You know, it's hell freezes over again, right?
Yeah.
Eagles, they've toured a zillion times too.
You know, and I think that probably adds to your longevity, right? Because you're gonna have, you know, those parents that grew up with the Eagles, and then now I have adult kids, and hey, let's go to Chicago and watch the Eagles, right? Like, so you probably you're like semi-creating a new fan base the whole way along.
Correct.
You know, it's just
I agree.
Their first discovery of it, you know.
It was in that, and now we are at that demographic. So going to the Chili's, that's a lot of what you saw. I saw a lot of parents. I would guess parents that were in the upper 50s, mid to upper 50s, and they had teenage to 20-something-year-old kids with them, you know, and that was really cool to see, right?
Listen to minivan on the way to Yellowstone. That's what we did on road trips. Brings them back. So.
Did you get yourself a tour shirt while you were there? Are you a shirt guy, tour guy?
I did. I got it on the way out to add another layer to our walk back to the VR or to the
smart.
Mm-hmm. Yep. From a bootlegger, I'm guessing. It was
okay.
Selling it on the outside.
Merch table, huh? Okay.
Yeah, not the official merch table. I got a good deal. I think it was like $20 too. So I'm
Got it
pretty
for
sure
$8 instead of 50.
it's the real deal though. I mean, it's like the official shirt, but I don't know where he got him. And we got to watch him get busted. Shortly after, they didn't see me purchase it from him. But yeah, within like 90 seconds, we're turning around. We're like, oh, hey, the police are getting him.
Yeah, I've never been a big
Stolen
concert
goods?
merch guy. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just like I'm ready to be done when they're over or what, but bought one concert shirt my whole life, and that was Foo Fighters when I went to that tour, and bought a CD once at cruddy little bar over in Moorhead. I saw a band and they were decent, and I was very, very drunk, and I bought a CD from the lead singer. So two
Did
pieces
you get
of
it
merch.
autographed?
Yeah,
Did you get it
yeah,
autographed? Yes.
yeah. I talked that guy's ear off for a good 20 minutes between bands. Give me that
Man,
CD.
I'm your
priceless
biggest. I'm your biggest fan.
Yeah. I remember.
What's the band? What's the band? Come on.
No idea. Copperman, maybe was their name.
Copper Man.
I remember they did a cover of Come Together, and I was like,
Ooh.
that was better than the Beatles. I guess I had too many beers. So
Yeah. Funny.
yeah.
Yeah.
Better than the Beatles.
Didn't even make it through the main act at that little concert. So sorry. It's a good night though.
Well, shout out to Copper Man or
Yeah,
Copper
if
Men.
that's their,
Or
I
is
don't
it
know.
plural?
Who knows?
It's a band. Is it? If
I
it's a
think there was
band, it
more than-
should be plural.
Yeah, I think there was more than one person, but it was anywhere from 1 to 12 based on my vision when I watched them. So
And where this was in Moorhead?
yeah, it used to be over by the Safari, whatever that like stabby little bar is. I think it's still open now. They do a lot of like little rock concerts over there
Really?
now.
I'm not the Safari Theater, the
Yep,
cheap
yep,
seats, right?
Yep, there used to be, I think it used to be maybe a Pistol Pete's at one point. Then it was the Eclipse
Oh, Pistol
nightclub.
Pete's.
Then it was the Eclipse nightclub, and now I'm drawing a blank on what it is now. But the Garage Band, the Garage Bar, maybe is what it's called now.
So it's not Pistol Pete's anymore.
No, that's about 3 bars ago, I believe.
That's where I celebrated my power hour.
Ooh, yeah,
Pistol Pete's with all my friends, and then like 4 off-duty cops and their wives.
Yeah. Get
they were
this
the
boy
only-
drunk.
What was a Sunday night, and we were the only people there. They were off duty, and they weren't gonna let me not celebrate it. That was funny.
Don't drive home now.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure it was a Pistol Pete's. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Because they moved somewhere else, like to North Moorhead after that. But
Oh, okay. It's a pretty big place. It was a pretty big spot.
yeah.
Mhm.
So that's all the merch I've ever bought. You a merch guy, Jeremy?
No, not at all.
Hard to find
Took my
merch that fits, I suppose, when you're at concerts.
I took my daughter to
Extra talls.
Monster Trucks, and they had a lot of merch, and I'm not paying for that. No thanks.
Yeah.
Ooh, speaking of merch, before we move on to healthy lifestyles, I guess I did just purchase some merch at the Shrine Circus. I was there like 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
You
Light
hope
up
that at least
swords. Light up swords.
Goes to a good cause, right?
Yeah, the Shrine Circus. Yeah, there is a lot of chatter about like stopping the Shrine Circus. I don't know. Facebook people are up in arms about it. I have some friends that are very anti-Shrine Circus.
What's the kerfuffle?
I think it's mostly the elephants. Seems to be the sticking
Oh.
point.
Oh, the treatment of the elephants?
Yeah. Like I think if they
Mm.
just did away with the elephants, they would be fine with it.
It always comes down to that.
Yeah, that's all the elephant in the room, as they say. I believe that's where that saying comes from. My
Are
thought
they
is
really
you,
that
you-
mean to the elephants?
I don't know. You throw that sucker back in the Sahara or the savannah, and
It's not
he's
going to be good.
dead in a day. So
See
I
ya.
don't know. It could be worse for him. He seemed happy, or she
Especially
seemed
if
happy.
especially if it's
They-
your
did.
run of the mill Fargo elephant that's been so
Yeah.
lackadaisical.
And I get, okay, so maybe now you don't go over and capture elephants and start them young, but like, let it go now. The elephant is institutionalized. It's a red situation. Just let him be. Let him have fun, right? Like
So
he's
how
not
do-
going to have happy. We talked about addiction to these rockers. That elephant's the same way. He's not going to be happy if he's not performing every night in front of kids.
So are they protesting zoos?
They don't like those either.
I'm sure zoos get protested too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh my word.
Yeah, there's always people out there. That's what they want to do is career protest,
So then we shouldn't allow pets, right?
Unless you
Shouldn't
free
allow
range them.
pets either.
But if you free range your cats, then they'll yell at you for doing that.
Well, yeah, then they need to be on a leash.
Yeah.
Oh,
so you
I don't know.
Can't do it either way.
To me, it's all or nothing. You just can't. We can't be a double standard between cats and dogs and elephants.
Yeah.
No,
one and the same.
Yeah,
I get that. I have no problem with it. I got to go and perform in the show. Me and my buddy both got pulled from the crowd, so that was exciting.
Really?
Yeah. As
Did
you
harm the elephant?
You guys know I love large crowds of people. So
whip and a chair. You tamed the lion.
No, they brought like 4 random people out, and we danced, and then they sat us like in a circle in chairs, and then we laid over each other's laps, and then they took the chairs out, so we were all holding each other up without chairs bent over backwards.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, that was fun. My kids thought it was cool. It was interesting. My buddy that he brought his kids, we sat together. The opening act, they took a gal and they turned her into a tiger. Magic trick, classic magic trick, right?
Oh, yeah.
So my buddy's daughter, when they took my buddy down, burst out crying because she thought they were going to turn dad into a tiger and she was never going to have her dad again. Hilarious, but sad for her. She was very happy when he came back. Yeah, little sweetheart. So that was exciting. So yeah, I don't think any of those folks, the performers, were living a healthy lifestyle though. Those tumblers, a
lot of seed oils.
Yeah, a lot of seed oils. I can tell you,
probably too much
exposure.
Carnival popcorn, probably.
A lot of deleterious effects.
Yeah.
A lot of inflammation.
Casey, take it away. How do you want to prop this one up?
I don't know. I want you to prop this one up. Nick has been talking to me about seed oils for a year now, and
dangerous.
He has never really once explained it to me. So I said, "Hey, let's fire one up. Let's talk seed oils. Also a little bit about just kind of that. I think we talk.
She can't hear you. She can't hear you. It's just in my.
That's all right.
Headphones.
I have a pretty animated face. It's fine. But I think we talk a lot about, in therapy, some of these conventions that we've now turned on their head and moved on. But I think just general health probably needs a little bit of that kick in the pants too, So yeah. I think this is kind of a cool, maybe talking point to go, maybe some of this stuff we just take as common knowledge or take as, it's, the doctor says it's fine, or everybody recommends this, so this is what you do, even though there's not a whole lot of research to back a lot of these assumptions.
Correct.
And you can go back and, everybody will point to eggs. Are they good? Are they not? You hear that over and over.
Yeah, eggs have come back and forth and back again. Yeah.
Wine's probably one of those things, dark chocolate, that stuff that just kind of comes in and out of the zeitgeist of health. So, I guess the first thing I would ask is the seed oil thing. I find interesting. I'm an olive oil man and a butter man. That's my two for the most part.
Same.
I've shifted to purely butter and olive oil. We'll use coconut oil on occasion, but I think the mechanism, as I understand it, there's other people a lot more educated than myself, so you're getting a really watered down layman's version of it. But it's the just the analysis of all the steps to the manufacturing process themselves to derive a cooking oil, a lubricant. Really, it was all derived initially as a lubricant for engines, and then as a byproduct, it was we can cook with this stuff. And that stems back to the 1940s and 50s. And
now,
I think that all checks
out. Seed oil.
The issue
for most people, you're preferring, typically the most common one would be canola oil.
And soy. Anything that's, if you look at it, if you have vegetable oil, Like you grab your bottle of vegetable oil out of the cabinet, it'll either be canola or soybean oil.
Okay. So when
Yeah.
you talk
But
seed
then
oils, those
there's
are the big ones you're talking about. I mean, there's sesame oil and
correct.
stuff.
Yeah. And there's sunflower oil and palm kernel oil is another one that you'll see come up again. Um, so the challenge there is, as I understand it, the issues really come into the processing of it and the fact that especially when you heat it for cooking purposes, there are some studies that show that it kind of stays in your system for an extended period of time, the derivatives of it, and some of them, and whether they create more oxidation, faster cell death, stuff like that. It's a little bit debatable. I was even trying to do a little research ahead of this, and even as recently as February of this year, there's a little counterpoint argument. Goes back to some article that I was reading today, and it goes back to something that we talked about like 3 weeks ago on the pod, where it's hard not to read it and then say, are you just creating confusion? Because it's like, well, there's really no studies that prove that it does this unequivocally, right? It's like, well, I'm still going to lean against it, right? My eyes were open to it doing listening to Nick Bear's podcast like about a year and a half ago. He's got a great podcast like the Bear Performance pod, and in that he had a guest on who really broke down the adverse effects of it. And since then I went in and not only got rid of all of our vegetable oils in the house, but then you start reading your condiment labels, and that's where you identify it being used as an additive in so many other things that we consume. Additionally, I have an allergy to soy that I think I've talked about on this pod, where anything with soybean oil, I just get even more phlegmy and congested than I already typically am. So try to avoid that and limit it.
Yeah, I assume like soybean oil is in a lot of your condiments, right? Like mayonnaise, Miracle Whip, all that stuff. It's a huge one.
It's a lot. If I love me some Buffalo Wild Wings.
Me too.
And almost every one of those sauces, the number 1 or 2 ingredient soybean oil.
That means I'm pro seed oils now.
Yeah, I just had some Wild Wings this last weekend.
I did too.
I love it too. I love it, but I don't know.
It's not phlegmy nor congested.
Nope.
You probably were. You probably were. You didn't even know
the back end was decongested when it was all said and done. That stuff. There is something about Wild Wings that seems to be on a freight train. Yeah.
Aggressive.
Maybe that's the seed oils. I don't know.
Maybe.
Now I know.
Maybe it's the peppers.
Rebalancing your gut biome.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that was a forest fire on the way out. So
there's so much to like break. I mean, we could go on. I think we could devote like 10 straight pods to just health, wellness, and probably even more, because it's going to continually evolve. So many fascinating aspects to this. I'd love to research the seed oil topic a bit more, because it is something that the more that I've found with it, and the studies that you could slap a graph on and talk, it shows like incidence of heart disease, and then mass production increases of seed oil, particularly canola, and they basically like curve up at the exact same time. But that that's correlative, it's not causative.
Yeah, a lot of stuff went on in that time frame. Do you find in your limited research anyways, like soybean oil to have similar like estrogenergic effects as just general soy would for people?
They say that it does not, because it's so reduced down.
Oh, okay.
That's studies we kind of refute that, but
how are these studies paid for by the Soybean Council? Because I feel like they're advertising all the time. They love
there's
soy.
A lot.
Put in your food, put in your gas, do whatever you want with it.
I mean, my brother said this weekend he's doing more soy than corn this year again.
Money in soy, man.
It's a big market.
Now,
is it the right thing to put in people's bodies?
Now, is edamame bad for me? Because I find that also be a delicious treat.
You do you. I don't know. I don't consume anything soy. I can't because of the allergy.
But, so if you had edamame, you would be feeling poor.
I would feel very congested to the point of needing an injection of some sort.
Yeah. So like
If I
a raw soybean would be
so with like
more
tofu,
congestive to you than like just like an oil or a concentrated soy.
yeah,
added.
the oils when they're really reduced down and processed again, they're just ultra processed.
Yeah.
I think most of the time it says it takes 7 to 9 steps in the manufacturing process to take it from like a bean to an oil that's supposedly consumable, edible. I just get I get very phlegmy. I'll get itchy and blotchy around my neck. That's where it shows up for me.
Yeah.
So I really don't like it.
I don't blame
But
you.
as far as estrogenic, they say that it's not very likely with the oils. It is obviously very likely if you consume like straight tofu or soy protein isolate, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've just heard that mostly from the protein powder side. Like if you're gonna take a lot of soy-based protein, you may find your estrogen levels to be elevated. And I don't know if that's like
Wasn't that EAS back in the day? Wasn't that a lot of soy?
soy was big there for a little bit. I would
EAS?
say early or late 90s, early 2000s.
Well, they tried to claim it was heart healthy, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I suppose, I mean, estrogen's heart healthy, right? To a point. That's why women typically have less heart issues.
Yeah.
Early
it's
on.
not to say, I mean, even for men, it's not to say estrogen's necessarily inherently bad. It's just you want it balanced out.
Mm-hmm.
Like too much estrogen, just like too much testosterone. I mean, that creates issues, right?
100%. So yeah, maybe this is just a little taster, and maybe we have a longer conversation about seed oils. But I also wanted to get your take a little bit on, I think, sunscreen lotion. I think that's also an interesting one. Because I don't like wearing it, and my wife, he yells at me all the time. So,
yeah. What are your thoughts, Case? What do you mean? Have you looked into this one much at all?
I've seen the things you've sent.
Yeah.
I think there's some. I had this conversation with the patient not too long ago too about it. Just how it's very interesting that 40 years ago, you look at all these farmers that were out in the sun all day long without cabs on their tractors, without any sunscreen, literally out in the sun for every waking hour of the day. Didn't have a lot of like incidents of skin cancer. Wasn't that high?
The incidence was lower. I mean, statistically, that stuff's irrefutable.
But were they testing?
That is a question that's hard to answer, right?
Yeah.
It's so you do muddy the water when you throw that point out, Jeremy. It's kind of fair.
Because I'm like right now, right? It gets to be such a topic that it's like, man, if anything looks like, you got anything that looks suspicious, man, boom, let's go. And I just don't know.
But not all of that's like melanoma, though.
No,
right? I mean,
right.
This is like incident rates of diagnosed skin cancers.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, I could look at that the other way, Jeremy. I know a lot of people my age, younger than me, for even 10 years ago, that go to the dermatologist every year and are getting crap cut off of them. Like that didn't seem like that happened 20 years ago, where it was like, yep, mole patrol, we're gonna remove these 5 spots. And I mean, maybe we're just being more cautious now. But it just seems like they're finding more stuff to remove now.
Is it the right thing to do? Is it being done for the right reasons?
Ain't gonna afford those giant dermatology private practices if you're not pulling off moles on a daily basis.
Well, and to that point, right? Like family practice used to be everything, right? Yeah. So, I mean, you look 50, 60 years ago, our healthcare system wasn't nearly as siloed, nearly as specialized. Yeah. So, it's hard to say. It really is.
Oh. Yeah, I think in
Nick's like, no way, it's not.
I'm not even saying that. Jeremy, you're more of a foil hat guy than I am, I think.
Nah.
I just think it's fascinating, and everything is worth analyzing. It should be on the table, because what we're finding, I think these last 3 years have opened so many people's eyes to the fact that science is so not settled,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
there's so many things that we need to look at, and we need to look at like who's funding research and who really who really stands to profit from outcomes of studies, or lack of outcomes, as we talked about a few weeks ago. Like the more gray it is, than people who mass produce high fructose corn syrup are like, see, we don't know if it's bad. Go
Yeah,
ahead, drink,
I
drink
think
your
the
12 pack of
challenge,
Mountain Dew.
I think the challenge is like, I think the definition of science has been sold as like concrete, as law, and like science is inherently not law, right? Like
Yeah.
test, retest, test, retest, test, retest, test, retest. Like we have a conclusion. We don't have an answer, right? We have a conclusion today based on what we've tested. And then, we can have a kind of this is our best conclusion, but it's not the end all be all always, right? So, but then I would say there's some probabilities that go with that too, where you'd say like, for some things we can have a pretty good answer and say, hey, we've tested this a lot. A lot of people have gone through this. This is good, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I think it's always good to look at that stuff. And I don't think we're sitting here going to tell people never put sunscreen on. I don't think that's the message I necessarily want to get across to people. And I don't even necessarily going to say, Nick, maybe, well, I'm not going to say don't eat any seed oils or canola oil, but I think there's something to going, I don't feel great. Like canola, seed oil is an easy thing to try to eliminate from your diet.
If you're
Try
having
those
irritability
things
in your bowels and whatever it is, right? GI discomfort routinely. Try it. Try eliminating it for a while. Trial and error.
Yeah, it's the same
Certainly
thing.
not going to be out anything.
Yeah, same people ask me about gluten all the time, and I'm like, well, probably not as many people are, allergic to gluten as they say, but it sure is an easy thing to try to remove. See how you feel.
And will it just help? Does it just help with digestion in general, right? Is your GI system not breaking down, that we'll just say exoderm of the wheat.
The wheat.
And it's just easier on your system, perhaps. Maybe,
Well, I think anybody, if you look at your habits, especially when we talk about diet, and you're eating stuff constantly, very similar stuff, I think it's probably all right to give your body a break from most anything in some ways. If you're I eat red meat every day of the week, maybe you let your body rest a little bit. I think our bodies get, I'm not going to say allergic to anything you eat enough of, but I think our bodies respond when we just have too much of one thing all the time. Too much fat, too much sugar, too much red meat, too much cholesterol, whatever it is, too much salt. Our bodies in small quantities can adapt to some pretty amazing crap that we put it through. I mean, obviously people can put heroin in their body and survive.
Alcohol all the time.
Yeah.
Alcohol is truly,
you're poisoning yourself every
poison.
time.
Yeah.
It's
just how much of that poison can your body tolerate at one time?
A guy can go out and eat 40 hot dogs in one sitting in a contest and not die. But again, if you're going to eat hot
40's
dogs,
nothing, Casey.
I don't know what the record is anymore.
68.
Yeah.
Joey would put you to, he's like, what, 78 in? Like, how can people do that, right? I mean, but staying on that, I mean, that's extreme too.
Yeah. So the body's great at adapting and great at handling a large amount of toxin, but when you do it every day, on in, on out, you never give your body a break. I think that's probably what we need to look at. And I think the sunscreen's the same thing. I don't know if sunscreen inherently is poison you're putting on your skin. I don't think, that's not what we're saying, that the sunscreen's causing cancer. I think it's the fact that our body's made to get some sun.
Yeah, maybe we made it highly more sensitive than it needed to be.
Correct. And maybe we don't give our body that ability to protect itself by, slathering SPF 100 on our kids their entire lives. And then that makes sensitive to the sun. And when you do get it, then your body kicks in and it overproduces cells and you get cancer. Is there some of that? Is it just, 15 minutes of sun, 20 minutes of sun's okay. Yeah. Go into a tanning bed for an hour a day. with tanning oil on, probably not good for you.
Probably not great. And
So
I suppose there maybe my take home would be, I don't know if you guys totally agree with me, but my take home would be, if you're listening out there, like, do some research yourself. Like, look up some of this stuff, formulate the best opinion you can make on your own health, for your family's health. Like, look into these things though, and don't just follow group thought. Don't just follow mass thought, because there is some scary, I don't know, biases within all that.
yeah,
we could go on, the body's on feedback loops. Another one I'd like to send you guys is the prevalence of antacids and the actual detrimental effect that habitual antacid utilization has on the pH of your gut. And therefore, inherently, because our body works on feedback loops too. We know that from physiology, human phys.
we just talked about with NSAIDs on our last show.
NSAIDs, all endocrine system, respiratory system, every system. And yet here we are, we're going to suppress your stomach's acid, right? Well, you need that acid. You do. I mean, like we talked about inflammation a few weeks ago. You need some inflammation to heal your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you need acid in your stomach to dissolve the food, the crap you're eating. And if you habitually take like Prilosec or something like that, let's just take it as prescribed every single day of the year, 365 days a year, you've weakened your system quite a bit.
Yeah,
I think interesting stuff.
Yeah, I think we'll have lots more conversations about things and as we go on. I think it's always fun topics, and I think they're relatable, and I think as therapists we're in a good spot to have these conversations with people too. So
Jeremy, you're so quiet. You're quieter than normal.
Yeah, I got a kid that's running around in the background. She's pure chaos tonight. So
what does she think about seed oils?
Yeah. Get her intake.
She probably would love them.
No,
we don't use seed oils. We use olive oil and butter. That's us too. So
same.
Yeah, butter's so good too.
Butter
and good for you.
It is. They say it now.
Yeah.
Now it's back on the good side, depending on who you read. But same thing with eggs.
I eat a heck of a lot of butter. It doesn't seem to harm me any more than 10 years ago when I wasn't. So
hey, before we shift to our top 5,
we
can stay on health and wellness. How is your journey going with the Rejuve?
Yeah, just as far as like doing some like peptide therapy, feeling younger. Is that kind of what we're talking about here? Yeah. No, it's been interesting. I got to go in and rerun some labs, see where I'm at with some of that stuff. I think it helps, but how much of that's mental? I don't know. Definitely feel better at the gym, losing a little weight, those things. My hair has never been better. I would say that. No,
you got a lot of it.
Yeah, it's growing. It's got a nice curl to it now, so that seems, it just it's not like this amazing miracle by any means where I feel like I'm 20 again, but I know right when I started it, some of these aches and pains I was having just kind of went away, which was nice. Again, is that just timing? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, hitting the gym harder and feeling good. For cost of some of that stuff, I think it's really, when you look at it, probably no worse than buying supplements full of crap. I don't know what they are, so yeah, we'll see. I got like 3 months to go before you run through a cycle. It's weird that they call it a cycle. Makes me feel,
is it,
like a steroid user? But interesting as we talk about it, I was very surprised when I went in because they like baseline labs. I was very surprised how low my testosterone was. That was a huge shocker for me. No, I'm not doing.
I'm just tempted. I've never had my test levels ran. I'm just interested to see what I do.
Yeah, I'm not on testosterone or anything right now. It wasn't something I was interested in really, because usually their like number one thing is like, how's your sex drive, that kind of stuff, how's your performance, and I said no worries, wink. But she was like, but when they run labs, like, well, you want us to run it anyways, it doesn't cost you anything. The place I go to just does the labs for free for you. So I was like, I guess, it sure doesn't hurt to know. So she kind of explained it to me. She's like, obviously as you age, your testosterone levels are going to go down. Somebody like my age, I think she said maybe like 400 would be the level they would expect. When I was a teen, and maybe be at like 700. Everybody's a little different. She's like, you're 80-year-old in a wheelchair that doesn't have sex anymore. It might be a 250, and that's not abnormal. You don't necessarily need to supplement at that level. Mine came back at like 200, which was
what?
Yeah, crazy low. So I don't know. I got to get a rerun because, again, you would think at that level, like I wouldn't have zero sex drive. I grow
Wow,
facial hair.
You have no energy, right?
Wow. Yeah, like you would think I
200.
would. That seems very low. I mean, she was like, "Well, so like at that level, you're like my insurance would even pay for me to go on testosterone replacement at that level."
Get on TRT, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
Just
not against it. I'm not
jacked.
against it. I think bringing yourself up to normal levels, and I'm
Wow.
no desire to be like crazy high testosterone levels, but because I
Yeah.
probably never get anything done. But like, yeah, I mean, if I'm sitting 200, I don't know what it is, micrograms. I don't even know what the measurement is.
Per
Mils?
deciliter.
Yeah, whatever. If double what I'm at now is normal for my age, maybe it wouldn't be. Maybe I could feel better than I do. I don't think I feel that bad, but it's just interesting. Shocking. Like I said, that was the one thing when I went in there. I was like, wouldn't mind losing a little weight, wouldn't mind feeling a little younger, as far as skin and bowels and things like that. And that's all gotten better. So yeah. So you never had a check? It might not be
I do. I'm very interested in just having my checked. I think when I go in for my next physical, I'm going to make that request ahead of time too. Just see what my levels
it's not like it's a huge expense or anything. Yeah.
Jeremy, do you have any interest, or are you just ignorance is bliss type of guy?
Yeah, I'm ignorance is bliss.
No news is good news. Like,
yeah, it's the best.
But news. Jeremy, what if you're at 200?
What if what?
What if your T's at 200? When you want to?
What if I?
I just want to get a little.
What if I'm
my step?
What if I'm an elderly man in a wheelchair?
That's where I'm at, man.
How are you even getting around? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe they fudged the numbers. Maybe you were at a 1200.
That's what I think. I think this is a sales.
They're trying to sell the tea, man.
Oh, you're way down.
A little lower than we thought. I mean, it wouldn't be low if you were 85.
Yeah. Well,
have we got a plan for you?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Hansen. Are you 85? Oh, this is fine. It's not a big deal. Yeah. Oh wait, you're 38. Okay.
I mean, they do.
This was for Chester Hansen,
supposedly an independent lab. So it would be very interesting to fudge only that number, and the rest of them were where I don't.
Maybe they fudged all of them.
I'm already skeptic. I'm a skeptic now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess then I could go to my primary and I suppose request it as well and just compare.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going to go to. Yeah. Maybe, and then we'll compare it on the pod. We'll be like,
ooh,
I don't. Where were our T levels?
I already know where I'm at, though. It's embarrassingly low.
But we don't need that. Have yours redrawn.
The only place to go is up.
Mine.
Okay,
Jeremy, you too. You got to do yours too.
I'm not.
You got to be part of why not? Don't you? I mean, this is part of living. It's education. It's knowledge.
Part of living. L-I-V.
Let's learn.
It's for the people.
It's for the people.
You guys are scared. You guys are scared. I'm older and I'm going to be off of the charts.
You big old bull.
Because I've never stopped the grind.
I thought I was going to be off the charts. If I'm going to be honest,
I have 4 kids, not 46.
Oh, okay.
And she kind of asked that same thing, before they tested. She's like, did you have any kids? And I said, 2 kids, like, was it hard to conceive? I said, one and done twice in a row.
We have a one and done kid.
Yeah. Like it was never a journey. People are like, oh, it's what a joy, the process of having a kid. I'm like, it's just another Friday night, baby. So, yeah, I thought I was going to be like one of those 750 guys,
Woo, woo.
750.
I can't wait. Now I'm stoked. Okay, we gotta stay on this topic. We're gonna come back to it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Now that I've
Nick's
opened up
only
to the
gonna eat
audience.
livers and beef testicles.
Primal.
Yeah, I need to be more
Oh!
primal. I gotta get some sun on those suckers, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta start doing that. You gotta. Yeah, we didn't even talk. There's a whole lot more we could dissect out of this. We got to move on to our top 5, which is video game adaptations into movies. Before we do this, I don't know if I'm going to have an opportunity to do this, but guys, I did get verification that will come with a shout out to my buddy, good friend, a pal of mine, godfather to our son Baylor. Shout out to my boy Derek Peterson for throwing us an April Fool's Day prank. Emailing us at ptshoptalk.com. Kind of a running gag related to mixed martial arts. Oh, gmail.com. What did I say?
Just ptshoptalk.com.
Oh,
that's all right. I do the outros, Nick.
We'll work on the website. Shout out to Derek, my boy, former roommate in college. He might be a bigger Bison fan than you, Casey. I don't know.
Ooh, that's
remains to be seen.
But yeah, I've settled a little on that, so I get it.
I'm a longtime boy, but all right, top 5 video game movie adaptations, kind of in honor of the newest Super Mario Brothers movie that was.
Have you seen it?
He smashed some records. I did see it. We got back and took our first family movie in over a year.
Did it make your list?
Also took my kids to it as well. So
we'll
find out, Jeremy, if it made the lists.
We shall.
Yeah.
All right, I can go first and get my crap out of the way because my list sucks. There's been a lot of really crappy video game movies.
Oh yeah.
My number 5 goes back to another family movie. Took the kids to Angry Birds, the first Angry Birds movie.
I love this list already.
I like Jason Sudeikis. I like Danny McBride. So that's pretty much how it lands on my list. Got me to laugh a few times. I don't know what else to say. Angry Birds 2016.
I think that's a fun movie. It obviously drags on for the premise that they have. Not only that, but it had a sequel. But I think when they get to the end, when they're like actually slingshotting into the pig city, that takes way too long. That ruined that movie for me. Well, the build up to that point was fine.
And you knew you couldn't trust the pigs. I mean, you knew it from a mile away. Dirty pigs.
Never.
Yeah.
Decent little Blake Shelton song. As far as like the theme, that was a big hit.
Yep. Not a bad movie at all.
You say so. It's my number 5.
My number 5 from the year 2020 is Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I actually enjoyed that quite a bit. It had its own story, but still kind of had some of the video game elements. Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik was awesome. I thought he felt like he put a good performance in it. Didn't feel like he was phoning it in. So it was kind of fun to see him in that role because he hadn't been necessarily in some of those goofy roles in a long time. So it was kind of weird. That's kind of how his career sounds like is going to go out is playing that role. He sounds like he wants to get away from acting. So I think it was just a good movie. Fun, fast paced, didn't drag too much. Kind of blah in some ways as far as nothing really stood out in that movie for me, but I think just generally it was enjoyable start to finish. There was just no great moments, but
because it didn't suck.
Right. It was just an average of 6.5. I mean, that's a decent IMDb. So
hey man, I told you none of mine go over a 7. My number 5 is a Resident Evil from 2002.
That's the first one.
It's the first one. I couldn't remember the plot of the other ones, so I didn't have time to go back and watch them. But no, it came back at a 6.6. So
it's that high.
Yeah. Evil Umbrella Corporation, Raccoon City, dogs with their flesh falling off, supercomputer trying to kill you.
Was that too scary for you?
No.
Yeah, you were all right with that one, huh? Was
You're
it
fine.
because it was a video game IP? It wasn't scary
No,
for you?
no, I'm okay with I do zombies well.
Yeah.
I like real killers probably freak me out a little bit more than zombies. So,
Yeah, I'll always remember like the laser grid scene from that movie.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
always stands out. That's the
Cut you
one
in half.
stuck with you. Yeah, and then the guy like thinks he figures it out and it just cuts him into cubes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Pretty sweet scene.
That was,
Very sweet.
especially at the time. That was cool.
Yeah.
It's not a bad
Yeah.
movie, Jeremy. Not a bad movie.
Well,
Not bad.
6.6. That's my number 5.
Not bad. That couldn't be any better of a segue because that actually is my number 4, Jer. This is
Ooh,
like
look at
really
that.
funny. Yeah, everything you said. I watched it. I was pleasantly surprised. I was never like a massive Resident Evil video game fan, but I guess again because it wasn't terrible. And Casey, you said the scene that I was gonna lob up in this thing, but it was pretty creative and innovative at the time. I think there was a movie that and I found out later. Do you ever, Casey would probably be familiar with the movie Cube, or at least have heard of Cube.
Is that like kind of like a Saw-ish type movie?
Kind of. It's like a sci-fi version
Yeah.
of it, and it was made in the 90s. I never saw it when it came out. Super violent, and I guess that happened in that movie first in some way, but then they used like lasers in this one. But so it's a little bit of a rip-off, but I'll still give Res Evil credit. Paul W.S. Anderson, the director, who he's done a lot of average stuff too, average action, sci-fi stuff. I think he's married to Mila Jovovich, and that's why they did so many of those together.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought they'd do like 6, 7 of them?
7.
Yeah.
What is that? And then they got, is it a show now on Netflix?
For sure 5, and it was on Netflix, and I watched that too. That was decent. But she was not in the show. Yeah.
No, it's like a reboot, right?
Yep.
Yep. So that's my number 4, Resident Evil 2002.
Yeah, not a bad movie. My number 4 from 2012, maybe the most controversial movie I have on this list because it's not necessarily based on a singular video game, but it would be Wreck-It Ralph from 2012. Tons of video games in the movie, actual video game IPs in the movie. So
I'm with you, Jeremy. Like hard to put. Jeremy, go on. What are you thinking?
Gosh, what I'm gonna forget what because it's not an actual video game.
That's true. That's why I feel. I think we got to asterisk this thing.
Okay. I mean, your emails to top 5 movies based off video games. There was video games in the movie that the movie was based off of its interaction with video games. Now I also had The Wizard on my short list, and I felt like that was too far of a leap, so I took that off.
So what I would say for
Jeremy's call.
I'll let it slide. I was gonna go with Free Guy, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
You guys see that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That I was gonna go with, and I was like, nah,
but it's not real, and that's not a real game. So,
but yeah.
So beans there was real video game IPs in this. I considered it like they had Q*bert and Sonic, and so and
it was kind of all about arcades and
I'll let it go.
All right, we'll give you. I'll show you more grace than you guys showed me in the past.
It's all about growth, personal growth.
Yeah,
I can handle that because my T levels are so much higher than you boys. They're just
you assume.
I can just walk around confidently.
I hope that sucker comes in at a 12.
-4.
Yeah.
You blew all your loads, buddy. They're gone.
My
just an
number
estrogen
4
monster, Mo.
Oh, good. My number 4 is a movie from 2007, Hitman. It was 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb. Timothy Oliphant, potato, comes in as a bar-coded, bald-headed killer. Saves this gal who finds out that her dad was part of the program. So nice little film. Actually, I recently just watched that, and they had I forget what it was called, but they had a second version of that with a different guy in it. But they were just on YouTube TV. So it's a good reminder. And that one I actually did play on PlayStation a little bit.
Did you?
Hmm.
Hitman, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, never
Yeah.
seen.
Number 4.
Big Timothy Oliphant fan. I think he's
Yeah.
good.
I saw it. I remember I was a
He
little
was good.
disappointed. I mean, there was just a run of trash video game stuff in like the mid 2000s. And
It was
I
a
went and saw it.
6.2.
It's that's high.
Yeah, I
Um,
think after I watched Max Payne, I said I was never gonna watch a movie based on
Yeah,
like
talk
a
about that
Yeah,
is
that
like
wasn't
person
good.
shooter again
maybe
in my
the
life.
king of the disappointment with video game movies. And I'm
Especially
I
it
kind of
looked
like
cool.
Wahlberg
Like
too.
the trailer was sweet. You know, they had like the angels and demons, and like, oh, this is gonna be
Yeah, it was
awesome. And it was just super boring. Like
Yeah.
it built up for like 5 minutes of excitement.
I thought Hitman was very okay. I was, Timothy Olyphant. I was a big
Great
Deadwood
That's
list.
why it's a
fan
number
when Deadwood-
4.
Okay. All right. Good point. All right. I'll move on. Stop rating it. My number 3 just came out a couple years ago from technically the year 2021, but I think it got more released. Like, I don't know, those weird COVID times with theaters. So it is a remake of a movie made in 95. The 95 one's okay, but this one's better. Mortal Kombat.
Oh, you like the remake, huh?
I did. I preferred
did
the
too.
remake. I didn't know how much I wanted to know the backstory between Scorpion and Sub-Zero. But it was like such a good addition to it. And the fact that
Mythos.
I like the fact that they just committed to the hard R.
Yeah.
I think it's like, okay, that's what the games kind of were. And it really kind of worked. I enjoyed it. And they added in like some characters I really like. Liu Kang. I was a big fan of that. And is that who I'm thinking of? Liu Kang with the razor blade hat?
No.
Yeah.
No.
No. Liu Kang is the main guy, right?
Yeah,
Is he-
he's like the bicycle kick guy, right?
Yeah. It was Liu Kang's like cousin or whatever, but the one with the hat and
Yeah.
the fact they even put him in, that was kind of good. It worked. Yeah, so I enjoyed it.
Better backstory.
I liked it too.
Scorpion,
That almost made-
Sub-Zero or Gandalf the early years. What do the people want more?
Gandalf the early years.
Yeah, you know, Jay.
I don't.
What's under that robe?
I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it.
Reveal it.
Hey, Hanson, leave Tolkien alone.
Oh, I had this dumb conversation with my buddy like 2 weeks ago about Gandalf. I was like, oh, look, we were watching like Lord of the Rings. I looked at him. I was like, you think Gandalf used to just pound it? And he looked at me. He's like, no, he's like an angel, man. It's like, son of a gun. Like, how does everybody know this stuff?
Was your friend me?
Yeah, no. Shout out to Justin Miller. He was he was like word for word with what you said. I was like,
Had it on deck.
I hate it. All right, my number 3 from 2006 is movie Silent Hill. I actually wasn't a huge like Silent Hill guy. Never really played it, but I knew a lot
on
of
DVD.
Yeah, knew a lot about it from Game Informer magazine. So I felt like I knew the game. Yeah, I thought the movie was good. It was creepy. It was a little scary. Pyramid Head was pretty sweet. Like, yeah, the ending is really jumbled up. The whole movie is kind of just this weird pacing, but like I thought at the time it was just a good scary movie. Like even if it wasn't a video game movie, I would have thought, yeah, it was kind of a creepy movie. So again, not strong lists. These are not video game movies are not great, but this is my number 3.
No.
Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that on the DVD somewhere. Yeah, that's a decent movie.
Yeah, when the bell hits, it's like, oh crap. Or the siren, I guess. It's a siren. So it is. Yeah. Yeah. Pyramid Head rips that person's skin right off. It's a cool scene.
Yeah.
All these flicks are just, as we're breaking down, they're all just so average.
Yeah.
At the
I have
very
nothing
best.
over a 7. They're all between a 5.5 and a 6.5. So speaking of my between a 5.5 and 6.5, Uncharted from 2022.
There you go.
It's remarkably mediocre.
Yes, it should have been better. Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg kind of got a little bit of that. I'm just a absolute sucker for a little bit of treasure hunter vibe to it. Love it. A little mystery, a little action, right? Kind of wanted to be Indiana Jones real bad and didn't even get close to it. But Yeah, that's my number 3.
Yeah. Yeah, super mediocre. We watched that too, and you get done with any of these movies and you're just kind of like, oh, okay. So
Well,
right.
I
So they
didn't
ma-
spend
so
any
they
money
made
on it though. That's why I didn't go to it in the theater.
well, I think
Good call.
wouldn't it got released really fast. Like I know in this era, it is kind of nice. Things come out on streaming pretty quick, and then depending on whose accounts you're sharing and everything like that, you whether it's Paramount or Peacock or whatever, they all HBO Max, they all seem to get stuff pretty early now.
Yeah.
So we watched it that way, and I remember just thinking, I'm really glad I didn't spend money in the theater to like
Yeah.
watch this. Since you guys are going, I'll move on to my number 2. You guys using all this like IMDb talk, I gotta pull mine up. Oh, here we go. Mine's 5.2, so
Yeah.
not very good.
I hit.
I don't want to say this has already been shat upon one time by Casey in previous dialogues, but it is from 2005. It is Doom, a game that I played an awful lot of and had nice creepy elements in playing it. I'm a big fan of The Rocks. I'm a big fan of Carl Urban. Those two are in the movie. Movie's not god awful terrible. Could have been better.
Mediocre.
Absolutely. Very mediocre. So I don't know. There is stuff I enjoy. I enjoy when Urban gets his power up and you get the first person shooter sequence for about like 3 minutes.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool. The creature design was solid. I like sci-fi. I like sci-fi horror. And if I'm being honest and not just leaning on nostalgia, it's probably as good or better than a lot of like 80s sci-fi horror too.
It was too much sci-fi, not enough horror. If I'm gonna be honest, I think that's what held it back for me.
Yeah.
And I think that was just coming off of like Doom 3 was the game probably around that time that came out. Like Doom 1 and 2, yeah, that was all action sci-fi. Like Doom 3 was like kind of a cool, creepy Resident Evil take on Doom. So I was kind of hoping the movie would be more atmospheric like that. I would say Event Horizon is a better Doom than the Doom movie. If I'm gonna be honest. So
yeah, that's its own beast. Another Paul W.S. Anderson movie though.
It's a
Event Horizon.
movie.
It is good, movie. but yeah, we can't compare Doom to that. I mean, that's much just a better.
It's like the same thing though, like almost the same story.
Yeah, but if I was to go, okay, I don't want to compare it to like Aliens because Aliens is phenomenal, right? I mean, it still holds up very well. But like, let's say like a Leviathan or a Deep Star 6 or something like that from the late 80s.
Oh yeah, way better.
It's probably better.
Yeah, you're right. Better actors.
And they tried with a story. They tried to create something that made some sense. World building, in case they would make a hit, and do some sequels. I like the villain turn by The Rock too. I guess I should name that part. That was one of the very few times.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you haven't seen it the last 18 years, watch out.
Yeah.
You never know.
I actually don't think it's that bad. Like, I think it's better than a 5.2 or whatever, but
yeah,
I just think it could have been better. So
probably like a 5.8.
Definitely. And part of it's because I don't think East Studios, we really knock that era. I did, but that's because those studios really support them. They didn't bring in like the great directors and writers to like make them worthwhile.
Yeah, they just churned them out.
Yep.
All right, my number 2 from 2022 is actually the second Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Crazy that it makes this list twice. I'm not even that huge of a Sonic fan, and a lot of people argue that the second one's worse than the first one. I disagree.
My son would be on your side.
Idris Elba was awesome. He added a nice straight man to the story. I thought it was really funny. Again, Jim Carrey took the full evolution of Dr. Eggman, Dr. Robotnik, whatever you want to call him, to its full conclusion. I felt like it was more like a Sonic game than the first one. Brought the whole world in, got Tails in. I thought it was cool, like when he gets underwater and he panics, like in the video game. Like it was just cool little things like that. I enjoyed a lot more from the second one. The story was maybe a little more convoluted, but it brought some answers from the first one. And other than like the one wedding scene, weird undercover agent scene in that movie
Yeah,
for
that
like 15
completely
minutes.
didn't belong
Yeah.
in there.
You take that out, and it's I think, a really solid movie, not just a video game movie. So that's my number 2, Sonic the
Okay.
Hedgehog 2.
Sonic 2.
Also the best Sonic the
I can't
Hedgehog video
comment. I
game.
haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
I
huh?
haven't. No, I haven't
You
seen,
seen either of them?
I'll have to watch them.
They're not bad. They're average.
Yeah.
A little better, a little above average, I'd say.
Well, I watched everything on this list and it was very average too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, compared to your list
including-
so far, it would probably be the best 2 movies.
I could probably slide it right in at like my 3 or 4 spot. Honestly, like
Yeah.
I mean that's how
I'll-
interchangeable it is. You're right.
I'll have to check it out.
I mean, I felt bad
Um,
having 2 Sonics in my top 5, but honestly, there's not a lot of good video game movies.
It's not.
You haven't heard my next 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
My number 2 is The Prince of Persia from 2010. So
You whitewashing son of a gun.
yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal was.
Hold your identity.
Have you seen-
politics, Hanson?
Have you seen his 23andMe? You don't know. You don't
Yeah,
know
that's-
Jake
yeah.
Gyllenhaal. So anywho,
Arabic blood. Come on.
Maybe I'll trade him my T-level scores for his 23andMe scores. We'll see.
oh, I
Like
bet he'd
trading cards.
do it.
You're listening out there, Jake.
Send them in. I'll trade you.
Come on our pod.
Yeah. No,
All right, what's
I enjoyed
great
the
about
story.
Prince of Persia?
Hey man, little magical dagger that can reverse time, right? Saves the day. Definitely very Disney-esque, but it was a good video game. I think they just remade it, if I'm not mistaken. Not a PS5 guy, but yeah, that was one that I watched and I'm like, they could have made a sequel to this. And they didn't. So probably why it's a 6.6. It's one of the best on my list.
Oh,
So
surprisingly
that's-
high.
That's 1.4 above my number 2 of Doom. So
But
math
yeah, there you
checks
have
out.
it. Prince of Persia.
Yep. That was like the beginning of Gyllenhaal's like evolution to just being like a jacked, shredded guy now.
Yeah.
Because he's like a full unit right now.
Oh, for sure.
All right, we're on number 1s.
Number 1s.
All right, recency bias right here. Super Mario Brothers. That's my number 1.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Hey, don't
It's-
spoil it too much. I haven't seen it.
All right, I'll be careful. I just thought, for what it was, I just enjoyed the heck out of it. Start to finish. Made me smirk, made me smile, made me laugh. Jack Black has some great moments in there, playing the villain, but yet aside from his songs, you can't tell it's Jack Black or I kind of
No.
like that.
Yeah, he really disguised his voice well.
Yeah. Same thing with Chris Pratt. It almost made me wonder too. Like, did they really need to hire him to play Mario? Right? Create some of that online roar, but he's good. I mean, I actually really like Charlie Day as Luigi.
Yeah, he did really well.
He's always solid and fits. So
And even Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, I thought he was funny. I don't know.
fine.
Yeah.
Right? It worked. It's kind of fun. Most of the stuff worked. Not everything did, but Crash that like is on this list, it's a heck of a lot better. And you could tell they cared. That's the other thing. Like, you could tell like the people who made the movie really enjoyed the games.
Mhm.
And I think that stands out too, rather than just, a production company that's like, oh, here's like $150 million and you're going to make it about this video game. So go have at it. Right. So, on Super Mario Brothers 2023.
Woo! Yeah, I love the beginning when they like are shooting the commercial and the background music is like the old background music from the cartoon from like the late 80s, early 90s. That was cool. A little shout out.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
The old
Lots
Super
of Easter
Mario
eggs,
rap. Yeah. No, it's a good movie. Just did not quite crack my top 5. I don't know why. As I was thinking about this list, I was like, man, it was an okay movie. I mean, no Sonic the Hedgehog. It was all right. Just This I guess that was an average movie.
It's no Sonic 1 or 2.
Yeah, I mean that's fine cinema. And it's no number one from
It's
2000.
but you're gonna say it's no Silent Hill.
I like Silent Hill, man. That was a good movie. I'll watch that any day of the week, twice on Sunday. But yeah, my number one from 2019. Again, maybe a little bit of a stretch based on a video game, but not based on a specific video game. It is Detective Pikachu. Just a fun movie. I'm not a huge Pokemon guy, but what they did with the IP was fun. Put in the real world, gave it its own kind of backstory. The humor's good. Ryan Reynolds is good. The main guy, I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, Justice Smith. He was fun in it. The animation was cool to see those Pokemon brought to real life. I thought, yeah, and it's just a good fun little story, and pacing's really good. Never really slows down. Pretty strong end. So that's my number one, Detective Pikachu. I still watch it with my kids. So
I can't comment on it.
I can't. I haven't seen it.
Oh, you guys should give it a shot. Especially again, looking at your list, you might be your favorite video game movie.
Probably not.
Yeah.
It's not gonna beat Doom.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
no way.
It's not overtaking Doom. Jeremy, what's your number one, homie?
My number one is from 2016. It's a 5.6 out of 10. It's Assassin's Creed.
Ooh, just because you're such a fan.
It's
You
because I
are.
love the video game.
You did say that like a long time ago, yeah.
So yeah, the movie's mediocre, but I could see a sequel to that too. I love the storyline. Get the dude in the Animus, got this DNA from the past, and I'm gonna go relive some historical stuff. So it like hits like a little bit of time travel, basically, a little bit of historical, a little bit of action. It was good for me. They're supposed to be, for the longest time, they're supposed to be doing a Netflix series too, and they've had some kerfuffle with producers and such. So I know it.
Such is the world we live in.
Michael Fassbender, though, he was really like the big thing for a while.
Yeah, it's interesting. His star fell quickly, though, I felt like. And I was wondering if it was just like they put him in these lead roles and he just kind of
nothing hit.
Was blah. Yeah, never had hits, Even the X-Men movies, it was like, they're not that great.
No, he was good as Magneto. He's a good Magneto.
Well, that's the thing. Like, he was good in these movies, but the
probably
movies never did well.
Right? It's probably what he's going to be known for, right? Magneto?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can't imagine.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah.
So maybe Assassin's Creed.
Oh, man, if they could make a sequel.
They're talking about a second one. I
don't know. I should probably watch it too. I've never seen that one either. So
yeah.
Assassin's Creed, Detective Pikachu, back-to-back movie cinema evening.
And then Sonic 2 before Sonic 1.
I don't know if you want to watch them out of order.
You're gonna Tarantino it.
I am.
Maybe you just mash them up. Maybe I'll just cut them up in my movie editor and just send you one long movie.
It was if you go do a little research on like video game adaptation movies, though, it's remarkable how much trash is out there.
Yeah.
Like the top 50 according to Rotten Tomatoes are like, it's brutal.
I'm kind of surprised there's never been a Zelda game. I feel like Zelda would be a good movie.
Yeah, Nintendo seems like they
I don't know.
Hold that stuff close. Metroid would be good too, I think. I think those are good
Metroid
ideas.
would as well. Yeah.
I bet they make a Metroid movie. I bet in the next 5 years a Metroid movie gets like greenlit.
I honestly
it seems really hot right now.
I think the Super Mario Brothers movie from the early 90s just scared Nintendo away from movies for a long time. Like their big IPs anyway.
That one almost made my top 5 case.
Yeah, shut your...
I'm so disappointed.
That completes episode 58 of PT Shop Talk. Thank you, everybody, for listening. As always, hit us up with your top 5 suggestions. Guests, you want to come on the show, talk about something, let us know. Hit us up at ptshoptalk@gmail.com. If you want to check us out on YouTube, you want to see some clips of silk stockings that they allowed me to use, go check us out on YouTube at PT Shop Talk, Twitter, PT Shop Talk. 1 and Facebook as well. So until next time, I'm Casey Hansen. With me as always, Nick Doling, Jeremy Van Klompenberg.